Oh no, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool.
That's what you call it, or a limp noodle.
And he's giggling.
Are you so ourselves?
Speechless. I'm so excited. See, I think they use
We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our regular board meeting of the Lakota Board of Education, Monday, November 6th, 2023. Mr. Zink, please call the roll.
Mr. D? Yep. Ms. Bodie?
Present.
Ms. Casper?
Here.
Ms. Shaker?
Here.
Ms. O'Connor?
Here, thank you. We'll move to approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? Thank you, Mr. D. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. D? Yes. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Bodie?
Yes.
Ms. Shaker?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes. Please join me to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Bodie, would you lead us, please?
The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Board under Board President comments. Our treasurer would like us to consider moving our December 4th meeting, the first meeting from December 4th to December 12th, which is a Tuesday.
That's correct.
It's our only meeting in December, correct?
That is correct. Only meeting in December.
Yeah. I have nothing. I mean, I can do that. Works for me.
Mrs. Miller?
Sorry, would you say the 12th?
The 12th, Tuesday.
Mr. D?
Yes, I'll make accommodations, thank you.
All right. You noticed that, Mr. Zink?
Well,
All right, thank you. Move to superintendent comments. Dr. Long?
Thank you. We have some guests tonight that we'd like to ask to come up to the stage. And I'd also like the board and the treasurer to join on the front of the stage. We have the Faith Community lead pastor, Andy Wagner, and we have Westchester Nazarene lead pastor, Alex Mahaffey, and the associate pastor, Shane Stone, the outreach pastor, Teresa Bowden, and the administrative director, Hannah Spaniak. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Hannah. We need to honor them and thank them for helping us whenever we had the fire at Hopewell Junior High. So if you'll join me in front, we will thank them appropriately. So please, board and treasurer.
Jeff, please say, principal. Thank you, Dr. Lala. We are amazed at how much our community stepped up, our faith community stepped to really help in our situation. Thank you all. Your honorary Lakota,
Is that a thing?
maybe just make that real.
Like, is that a thing?
Let's give them one more round, please. Dr. Lala, other comments?
Yes, we had an issue that surfaced last week, late in the week, that had been handled in the spring of last year, and I just wanted to comment on that. As rumor control, it was stated that a book was brought up at Van Gordon Elementary School, and that nothing was done about that particular book or that student choosing that book, etc. And that was handled by Mr. Vogelman at the time. So that whole rumor that came up and how everything was handled and not handled is totally incorrect, and I have the timeline of all of that occurred in the month of April with the principal, with the parents, with the student, etc. So that issue was handled, and I'm not sure why it's resurfacing, but it was handled, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that that was handled. The book was part of an order that was a group of books that were brought in when they were ordered. It was part of that series. So the curriculum department immediately took care of that at that point in time and made sure that teachers knew how that book was to be used and how that book was to be displayed or not displayed in the classroom appropriately. So I wanted to make sure you knew that.
I had forwarded that concern to Mr. Vogelman. He was very responsive very quickly, and it was after hours, I think it was even over the weekend, and he turned that around very quickly. I appreciate his responsiveness.
I also have a comment on that.
This is Bobby.
So the parent did express concern regarding the book Gracefully Grayson to the board. Unfortunately, Linda O'Connor sent an email response that not only does not apologize for the book being in the classroom, it actually suggests that there's a good, legitimate reason to have this book available, that is disgusting and repulsive. Not only should the book not be available for our teachers' discretion, there should be no teachers teaching at Lakota that think it would be okay to expose a child to this book. And Dr. Lally, you just said there was correction or direction on how the book should be used. It should not be used at all in our public education system. Thank you.
And I just like to remind the board and the public that there is a policy, that if there's an objection to a particular book, there's a board policy and steps to go through for that. And it really should not come to a board member, it should come to the district itself, and we can follow through and follow that process. And that's essentially what happened when you forwarded that, Ms. O'Connor. When you forwarded that to Mr. Vogelman, then the district followed through with that, although the parent should have actually contacted the district first instead of a board member, but we'll continue to talk about that and the fact that there are policies in place that once a board member is contacted, of course, you let us know that, but it's really important for the people to understand they can come directly to the district, because that policy is what we enforce and what we use. So that if
Nor
that
do we
helps
ignore,
everyone to know
nor
that.
do we ignore parent concerns, so I appreciate you sorting that out. I would say that Mrs. Bodie's interpretation of whatever response I made on behalf of the board is not accurate, but we'll let go for now. Did you have something on it, Mrs. Schaefer?
I have, it's actually policy 9130. I had printed that off and I have that with me. Not only it says matters regarding materials used in district programming, there's a form to fill out should you not be able to resolve it in working with the principal within the building or with the teacher prior to that. So like any complaint, we ask that people start at the local level and start with their teacher and work their way up. And that's the reason we have policies, to make it clear how we are to handle this. So I appreciate that we're continuing to follow the policies that we have created. This one, I believe, has been in place since 2013. So 10 years this policy has been in place. So I'm thankful we continue to follow that.
And I have a comment.
Mrs. Bodie?
I think what I'm hearing from both Dr. Lally and from Julie is that the mom or parent should not contact the board.
Correct.
So you do not want to know about things that are happening in the district.
That's not the point.
So you're discouraging parents from talking to the board members who with concerns?
It's not your job. We're not discouraging it. We're asking them to follow the proper procedure and policy, which is to start with the
So
policy.
it's not our job
To
to
start
start
with
with
the teacher.
parents' complaints?
Correct.
And I believe,
I think you need to
I
read
believe
about
in
it
the
when
past,
I think perhaps you do.
and I believe in the past, any board member that's received anything since I've been here, and probably before, you've sent it to me, and we followed the district policy by contacting those parents. So I'm not suggesting that a parent not ever talk to a board member. I'm suggesting that there's a policy that the parents can contact us directly, and actually, a lot of times it's faster if we get it directly from the parent, or the principal gets it directly from the parent, or the teacher gets it directly from the parent, as opposed to trying to get a hold of a board member and talking through it, and then it goes through a couple of different iterations. I might need to check with a principal, whereas if I've already had a parent who checked with a principal, the results may be a little faster.
I would encourage any member of the community to contact me personally
Yes,
if you have
please do.
any type of issue, and I will specifically help take care of the problem. Thank you.
And I think whenever you actually have contacted me about those, that we follow through, but sometimes there's a delay because I don't know the information. So that's the point in trying to find a faster answer by going through the teacher first and the principal, then to the district level. And if you don't have satisfaction from the district level following the policy, then of course the board can talk about that or additional policies.
It's understanding the difference between governance and management.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry.
And that's the other
Mrs.
part of
Gaskell,
it.
and then Mr.
The other reason for that, Mrs. Bodie, is that we are the last line of defense if something comes through the chain of command and the parent is not satisfied, then it comes to the board. If it comes to a certain board member first, you already have a preconceived notion and already have a biased opinion. So when it comes to the board, we all hear it at the same time without one person having already made a decision because they have been in it from the beginning, when it's the difference between governance and management.
What I'm hearing is that the board does
Yes.
not want to be
Mr. Dean has the
contacted
floor.
by.
Mrs. Bodie?
So-
You're hearing what you want.
Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, what I want to say here is the community need to know, parents need to know, the board is a governing body. There's administrative body that handles day-to-day running of the school district. And the board is the governing body. We supervise the superintendent and the treasurer. It's okay if any parent, I'm addressing the parents right now, it's okay if you have any issue and you have a chosen board member or whoever you want to on board. But it's the job of the board member to forward such complaints to the superintendent, or if it has to be finance goes to the treasurer. We don't do anything on that, so that it should be understood that no board member is against or in support of anything. But we go through the administrative body to handle that situation, and they know what to do. Go back to the principal and go down the chain to ensure that that situation is handled. That way, nobody comes here and accuses another board member of not meeting. That's not the job of the board member to do. So this is for the community to understand, parents to understand. That's what I wanted to add to it.
Thank you, Mr. Dean.
And
And
it's-
I would say also that it would be, if you can imagine, each one of us as board members following our own processes and not having an agreed upon process, which is captured in policy, that would cause a lot of havoc within the system. It would take a lot of staff time, and it wouldn't be handling the problem, if there is a problem, effectively or efficiently. And that's why we follow process.
I have a
And we
comment.
all have the same process that is captured in policy. That's why we have it.
I have a comment.
Mrs. Bowden.
Since I was interrupted earlier, I would like to reiterate the fact that, again, what I am hearing from the board is that you do not want the community to contact you on issues, and
That's not what you're hearing.
that's exactly
Mrs.
what you're
Buddy?
saying.
That would be your opinion, and you're certainly entitled to express it. I think we'll move along now, since we have a lot to cover today. Dr. Long, other under superintendent's report.
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zink, treasurer's comments.
Yeah, I just had one comment that I wanted to bring up is tonight in the personnel section of the agenda, you'll see Grizel Reyes. She's in our Welcome Center. She's on there for salary adjustment. This was an initiative that we put in place at the beginning of this fiscal year. When we hired new staff on, we had actually brought them on at $7,500 less than what the other staff was getting. Then they would get their list of things that they needed to achieve to get a 2,500 or then the 5,000, that it would bring them up to the same mark that everybody else would have been at. So Grizel is our first person that has got all of the checks in, and we went out and I took the team to lunch to kind of celebrate that. So this was something that we learned through our retreats that we did as team building and to have that buy-in as a team. So when we bring on new staff, so very exciting.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Zink. Anything further?
That's all.
Okay. We'll move to number 4, school spotlight. I think we have Creekside Early Childhood School, Independence, Hopewell Junior, and Lakota Central tonight.
Good evening. So tonight I'll share a little bit about learning and opportunities at Creekside Early Childhood, Independence Elementary, Hopewell Junior, and Lakota Central. First up is Creekside. Creekside Character Team. This team is made up of second grade junior cub leaders who want to make a difference in their school. After applying to be a part of the character team, the group works to carry out projects that fit the Creekside motto. We take care of ourselves, we take care of others, and we take care of this place. Some examples include taking a shift to work at the Woot Woot Wagon each month, giving new student tours, being a member of the Kindness Crew, working on community outreach projects, and helping with special projects around Creekside. Last year, fifth grade students at Independence Elementary School began a project-based learning experience that has continued this year. Connecting science units on pollinators and ecosystems, the students gained real-world learning problem-solving experience by creating spaces that not only help the environment, but also provide outdoor learning spaces for the students. The students designed the courtyards, learning spaces, researched the materials needed, and then they present their ideas to the school's PTA for funding approval. When it comes to building improvement projects, they present their ideas to our very own Chief Operating Officer, Chris Passarge. This year, the students are working with an Eagle Scout candidate on building a wooden amphitheater, and with the Ohio State Extension Master Gardeners to plant pollinators in the courtyard and flower beds by the sign in front of the school. And don't worry, the courtyard pollinators attract butterflies, not bees. They wanted me to stress that. They're also planning to move the school's greenhouse and make it into a year-round space that can be utilized by all grade levels. Last year, Hopewell Junior School was one of the first Ohio schools to pilot a national program that honors local veterans and raises funds to support injured American heroes. This year, they have continued supporting the Field of Flags, hosted by the local chapter of Disabled American Veterans. The program has now grown to 200 partner schools across the country. Tracy Parks is the Hopewell history teacher and the school student council advisor. She oversees the service learning opportunity that builds on classroom learning about Veterans Day. The students raised money to sponsor the flags, which they'll plant on the school grounds this week, each flag representing a veteran. The students have raised over $900 this year and will be able to add at least an additional 89 flags to last year's 110. Last but certainly not least, Lakota Central has some very talented students. Several photography students placed in the annual Sharonville Art Contest. Unfortunately, Emily Marks was unable to join us this evening to talk about her creative process in editing photos, but I do want to share that her photograph on the bottom left received an honorable mention. We're going to shift over to English language arts at Lakota Central. The students had an opportunity to enter a national writing contest. Winners of the competition will have their short stories published in an anthology, and that includes 7 Lakota Central students. So Leah Allman is here, and she is one of these talented writers who is about to become a published author.
Hi, my name is Leah Allman. I'm from Lakota Central. I'm one of the lucky members from Central who are getting their story published. So my story is about this young girl, Lily, and her mother dies when she was very young. Her father turns to alcoholism, and she's being chased, and she's all alone. And when the original prompt for this story was sort of a scary story, and I am not good at writing stories, so I took a more realistic approach, and instead of doing something like a ghost story or something like that, I put more of a realistic turn, and it's about her struggles and about her anxiety and her being worried about this chase that she's going on through. It was a really emotional journey to get through here because anxiety and depression is something that everyone experiences at some point in their life, and that's my motivation and inspiration for this story.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us, and we really appreciate your work and representing Lakota so well. Can we get a picture with you up front? Thank you, Mrs. Ford. We're moving to board reports, number 5. Board Policy Committee, Mr. Zink, our next meeting date.
Next meeting is November 17th at 11 a.m.
Dr. Lilly, is there anything else on policy? Anything else on policy that we need to know?
No.
Thank you. Business Advisory Committee.
Business advisor will be November 17th at 1 p.m.
Butler Technology Career School, Mrs. Schaefer.
Our last board meeting, we discussed the 5-year forecast. Everything looks good with our 5-year forecast and funding. So right now, we're looking at some alternative funding sources as well. As we know, we've talked about many times with the different expansion opportunities that are happening at Butler Tech. Right now, they've already gotten money for the aviation education hangar in Middletown, but we're looking at applying for another grant through Jobs Ohio and the Ohio Site Inventory Program to try to get additional funding for that. We're in the process of choosing a construction company for that particular project. The advanced manufacturing project that we're working with Miami University on has been stalled a bit as they try to work through some different issues that are happening within that process. So it's still moving forward, it's just how it's going to move forward or what that's going to look like is a little up in the air right at the moment. Some other good news for our students is that Molson partnered with Butler Tech, Molson Coors, for a $25,000 endowed scholarship to help with the industrial maintenance adult education program. So that'll be a good opportunity for students in our area. We're also looking at expanding at the Natural Science Center to lease some additional property from Monroe Schools to be able to expand that. And then the latest good news is that Butler Tech was awarded $7.2 million of the $200 million statewide dollars used for career tech education to expand the bioscience campus. So we'll be able to expand that by approximately 25,000 square feet. So that is a huge bonus for our students and our families to be able to take advantage of additional opportunities there. That will continue to be a partnership with Cincinnati State. And again, with the goal of removing all barriers to our wait list and making sure that everyone has an opportunity who'd like it through Butler Tech. So some good news there on funding.
Thank you. Community Engagement Committee.
Our next meeting is November 16th at 4 o'clock, is that right?
That is correct.
Yes. And also we have a community conversation on Wednesday. Special ed is the topic at West Innovation Hub, correct? I'm looking for someone to, thank you. Let's send, thank you, looking for confirmation. At 6:30. And just because of how big the gifted one was, if you do plan on attending, we would ask if you could please RSVP. Just no big deal, just let us know if you're coming, just so we can get a number. Because it's something, if it looks like our numbers are out of control, we may have to find another space, although I think that holds a fair amount of people, so we should be good. That's all I have.
Would you also like to address the Community Diversity Council? There was a question raised about that. And why we've not set a date for that yet?
We haven't sent a date out for the Community Council Diversity Committee because we're still looking for a facilitator. So we have some people that we are talking to. So as soon as we get that ironed out, we do plan on coming back with that stuff. Just hang tight with us.
Thank you. The CCAT team?
Next meeting is November 16th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. And we addressed the Diversity Committee already, unless you had something else on that, Dr. Long. Did you have anything else on the Diversity Committee? Okay. Facilities Committee?
Next meeting is November 17th at 12 p.m. That is a very busy day for committee work.
Yes, it is. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee next meeting is November 15th at 3. We are planning to review the 5-year forecast, so that's always an exciting one. I have another request. The following December 13th Finance Committee meeting, with that being after the upcoming board meeting, if there is any opposition, we could cancel that meeting. Or if we feel like it was necessary, then maybe move it the week before, but I don't see a reason why canceling would be a big deal. We've had a lot of those this year, and I think they went pretty well. No hot topics, really.
Yeah. Right after the 5-year forecast, it seems like that would be fine for me. Yes, I'm okay.
Okay. I'll notice that to cancel that one. Thank you.
Great. Legislative Committee? Dr. Lilly, Mr. Zink?
Right now, we're still just waiting on actions. There's still hearings going on and still very little movement with anything right now that affects curriculum and instruction pieces in our classrooms. I think there is a little bit of movement on the finance bills, but nothing on the other parts that we've been waiting on.
Yeah, House Bill 187, that has definitely been a hot topic. That's in property tax reform. There is a lot of feedback that we're receiving that the county auditor side, their professional organization, has some real apprehension on how they could actually deliver if that was to go through for tax year 23, which is the upcoming one starting in January. So stay tuned. There's still a a lot of talk, if that does go through, that it could result in some delayed invoices going out to the community, which could really affect cash flows for the district. So I don't think that it's a bad enough situation that if that did happen, they're saying that final collections for the first half could be as late as 1st of July, which would put us into the following fiscal year. So that would be a major cash flow. Good news is we do have reserves, so that's helpful in this scenario. We wouldn't have to worry about a short-term borrow, but that is definitely potentially going to create a hot topic for us.
It's good to have savings in bank to come in the unexpected. Mrs. Casper, did you have anything in legislative?
We wish we wouldn't have these types of unknowns to
Yeah,
plan
that's
for.
crazy.
That's the rough thing. This would be major for a lot of districts.
Yeah, and it's gonna make your cash flow, your whole revenue and expense numbers, just, the graphs are gonna be all out of whack, but it's nothing but timing.
It'll combo that with our COVID numbers that we have from fiscal year 21 through that, and then it would look like this was a very bleak fiscal 24, and then fiscal 25 would look very, very wealthy if that was the case. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll plan accordingly and make sure we document it so that we manage the trend lines.
Very good. And we are still set to have the Butler County Auditor come.
Yep,
visit us,
on November 20th. I have not sent the notice out yet, but that is coming. I just wanted to make sure we had that, had all the items necessary set before I sent the notice out.
Okay. All right, anything else on legislative? Safety Committee.
November 17th at 10 a.m. Let's see that.
Board Professional Development. I know most of the board are going to the Capitol Conference next week, or I guess this coming week.
Sunday.
Anything else?
No? Not for me.
All right. We'll move to 6, Treasurer's Recommendations. Mr. Zink, we have approval of the board minutes for October 16th. Is there anything else?
That's all I had at the moment. There was an addition brought to my attention that I did miss on the professional development. I'll bring a revision at the upcoming meeting, so we can approve this one, and at the upcoming meeting, I'll have a revision potentially.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve the treasurer's recommendations for number 6. Approval of the board minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adine. Is there discussion?
I will not be approving the board minutes until they are correct. They're not correct, so I'm not going to approve them.
Would you like to make a correction there?
Well, I was just discussing, I'm not going to approve it. It's not in writing and it's not correct, so.
I didn't want to amend the minutes without everybody being able to see it, so I'll bring it to the next meeting.
And we'll make an amendment to the minutes.
Correct.
Very well. Any other comments? Hearing none, would you call the roll?
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. D? Yes. Ms. Bodie?
No.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes. We'll move to superintendent recommendation action items. Approved personnel items and approved field trip. And approved donations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Do I have a second? I'm sorry, Mrs. Casper.
I'll second.
Occasionally it's hard to tell between the two of you. Yeah, Mrs. Schaefer, you have a second?
Yep.
All right. Is there discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Bodie?
I just wanted to, make a statement about the field trip to Washington DC. I just am concerned about the student safety with the pro-Palestine protests that happened this past weekend, and there's graffiti on some of the monuments. So although I'm going to approve it, I just want to express concern over our students going to DC in such a turbulent time, I guess I would say, and I would encourage the parents to watch what is going on over there and just to make the best decision for their student to send them to Washington, D.C.
Any other discussion?
I just wanted to note the donations year-to-date total. Almost $200,000 have been donated to our schools by different organizations, by PTAs, by individuals, by companies. I think that's very impressive. It's $200,000, over $200,000.
I'll just add on the trips, I'm thankful that our families have that opportunity again. That was an issue with COVID, and I know that's always such a looked forward to trip, and I know what this is for Hopewell, our other students. There's somebody from Plains who does a broader trip that different students can all participate in. I think it's so important to be able to see DC and our government at work, so I'm thankful that they have that opportunity and we are doing field trips.
And then, I mean, luckily it's not till May, so hopefully things will be better then.
Well, and I think it's valid to raise a safety concern when there are things going on the national and on the international stage.
They do a good job with chaperones too, so.
I do think they're very closely supervised when they go. And I know when I go as an adult and have a chance to visit frequently, it is always an experience that reminds me of the foundation of our country. And I value that opportunity, so I think it's great that our kids get that opportunity. All right, hearing no further discussion, we'll go ahead and we have a motion to approve superintendent personnel items, approve the field trip, and approve donations. Would you call the roll?
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Deep? Yes. Ms. Bodie?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connell?
Yes. We'll move to closing comments. Mrs. Bodie, would you please start us?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to go first, so that the board can't really attempt to discredit anything that I say. First of all, I would like to there were a couple comments that I would like to discuss that were made by parents this evening. Number one, I would like to know what buildings need attention the buildings that need attention, which ones have received it since our last meeting, where I believe the board clearly stated that we are concerned with the West freshman campus and that we need to make those, I guess, fixes that's possible. So I would like to know what has been done. Number two, a parent spoke this evening and stated that this is a public education system, and I 100% agree. This is not a place to indoctrinate our students into communism and Marxism, or a place to sexualize our students, which I believe is currently happening in Lakota. I also want to say, regarding the teachers, I think change is hard, and what we have been doing in the past clearly isn't working. And I would just like to ask the teachers to be patient and trust in the changes. Although I know it is hard to change ways that we've been doing things for 6 years plus, I would like them to consider the fact that these changes are to help provide a better education for our students, which I believe is why we are all here. And I have faith in these changes that are being made that are at least directed towards better performance, and then we'll see, help the results in the long term. So, and then the last couple things that I would like to say. Board, we continue to have parents express concerns regarding their students sharing a bathroom with someone of the opposite sex and the anxiety that it brings their student. Board, we have a duty and an obligation to protect our students, and we are failing them by not putting in place a policy or practice that prevents biological males from entering girls' private spaces. I would also like to make it known that it is not okay to harass a teacher who does not agree with the lie that a boy can become a girl and a girl can become a boy. This could potentially bring another lawsuit to the district and waste taxpayers' hard-earned money on another frivolous lawsuit that could have been prevented by the board. And there was a lawsuit in Virginia where a teacher was wrongly terminated for refusing to use a transgender student's pronouns. And so I don't think a student or a teacher should have to, buy into the lie. I'd also like to bring to attention that Leah Aguilar is suggesting Lakota parents use an organization as a resource in Lakota to create an event called Live the Dream. This is based on racism and divisiveness. Why is an employee of Lakota allowed to spread hate with this organization that includes support for BLM, whose organizers admitted to being trained on Marxism, and commentary from Ibram X. Kendi, who says we should confront racism with racism? This behavior is unacceptable of anyone in the education system and extremely damaging and harmful to our students and their future. And these are just more examples of Lakota Board of Education failing our children.
Do you know what Live the Dream is?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Hard to know where to go. Let me just say, regarding the Martin Luther King event of Live the Dream, our students have had an opportunity to showcase their talents for many years through the arts and through their writing. And it's always a wonderful community celebration where the entire community gets together to celebrate not only our students, but the day and of people of all walks of life coming together. So I look forward to continuing working on that celebration and being a part of that. As far as our student achievement and suggestions that our kids are failing, well, again, we've all agreed that the report card is not where we want it to be. I still go back to a comment my daughter recently made to me that said the test that we're grading our kids' success on hasn't caught up to the future we're preparing our kids for. So I want to continue to make sure that we focus on the future and not the past, and making sure our kids are prepared. And I see examples of that in things like our Cyber Academy. When we just had one of our students from East was just chosen for National Cyber Signing Day, and they were one of only 6 kids in the whole country chosen for that honor. We just had a competition this weekend, and while they don't have all the results out yet, we had 3 teams placed in the top 20 in that competition out of over 601 teams. So that is something to absolutely celebrate. We also had 3 seniors who were part of the U.S. Bank Pilot High School Internship Program, and they will now have their first full internship this next summer. So again, I'm so thankful for all the great things that are happening in classrooms across our district that are actually preparing our kids for what they will need to be successful in the future.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Mrs. Gansmer?
The Martin Luther King Community Celebration, this is the 25th year that the Independent Community Committee has put on. This is not something that any staff member is starting this year or deciding to dive head into something that isn't. And we always have a great turnout. We have some excellent writers, some excellent artists that submit their pieces to be judged, and they are always, always way more talented than anybody sitting up here could be. I say that. So again, it's an opportunity for our students to highlight what they're good at and how well they can write and how well they can put into the words what adults can't seem to agree on without being nasty. So I applaud our students for being able to do that, and they, again, do a great job. We have a female cross-country state champion in our district. So congratulations to Evelyn, who I believe finished 30 seconds before everybody else.
27 seconds.
Like in regional, she finished a minute before everybody. Just kind of hanging at the finish line waiting. So congratulations to her. That's a great accomplishment. She's an amazing athlete. I can't wait to see what she does next year. She's only a junior. Our bands have finished their band season and did an amazing job throughout the season. Both East and West got high accolades and grand champions and everything that they did regionally, and both did very well at their Bands in America competition, so congratulations to them. And West football survived another week. Play Princeton this week at Mason. So again, our kids are doing great things in and out of the classroom.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Dr. Woolman?
I spent the day today with the innovation specialists. We worked on professional development for buildings. It was a great day to work with them and to talk about some of the things that we're going to share with both principals and with our teaching staff. It's important to understand that when we take a look at what's happening in classrooms, we want to strengthen what's already there, but we also want to make sure that we're following best practices and best instructional practices to make sure that we are doing what we need to be doing. And those best instructional practices can be a variety of things. So that's one of the things that we worked on today. They're very excited to be able to deliver their professional development in a manner that will support the work that's already been done, that's positive, and continue to grow and develop the district in a positive way. So it was a really good day today for us to do that and to continue to work on curriculum, work on instruction, and get things done that need to be done. So,
Thank you. Mr. Zink.
I want to give a shout out and congratulations to Hannah and Connor in the treasurer's office. Hannah Songer is now Hannah Davis, so they recently got married, so we've had a change in the treasurer's office. Also, just wanted to say good luck to everyone at the polls tomorrow. I know there's a lot of work that goes into running for offices and stuff, so wish everyone good luck.
Thank you. Mr. D.
Yes, I want to highlight one of the comments that was made tonight, during the listening session. The strategic plan was introduced, and like it was mentioned, let's follow it logically, and I believe that is going to bring a lot of improvement in the areas that we are lagging behind. And I also want to give a shout out to our veterans, our first responders, police officers, and all security officers. Someone like me that came from a place where we need opportunity that is here in America. It's time for us to recognize and thank our servicemen. We have a lot of unsung heroes in our schools. Some teachers that are doing their best. We want to let you know that we are here for you. We might not necessarily see us all the time, but that does not mean that you are not recognized. The administrators are there and they're doing their job. And remember, if there's anything, any parent or community member wants, go through the right channel. But if it doesn't work out, you can still reach out to the board members. But the job of the board members is to go through the channel again and make sure that everything that's supposed to be done in the schools are done accordingly. That is what we do. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. D. I do want to remind people that board members we are the pipeline between our community, making sure that our community's voice is heard at this table, and making sure that we're listening when we're at there too, and we're happy to listen and help to guide in the right direction if you have concerns. And there is a process set in place, no matter what the concern is, for that to happen. So we will try to continue to make sure that those processes are followed and that concerns are addressed, and most importantly, that parents are comfortable and have resolution to the concerns that they have. I do want to say both Mrs. Schaefer and Mrs. Casper have recognized some student achievements, and we've had a lot going on lately. It's that season. And also the students that we recognized tonight, and the student achievement part is the best part of our job in many ways. So it's great to hear all of that, and I celebrate with my fellow board members. And I wanted to say, one of our public comments tonight, Mrs. Reardon, thank you so much for that reminder to be grateful for the things that are positive in the district. It was a well-timed statement, and really appreciate it. I've had the opportunity and really enjoyed that for many years to help judge the Martin Luther King event. Essays, the art, it's a very long day as we look through those, listening to our students' thoughts, and Many times it's focused on how do we make this a better community. It is, it's generally a pretty in-depth question that even our youngest kids have been able to address. And I really appreciate that this is used in conjunction with an outside contest, but it's our students honoring our community in that process. I believe Dr. Martin Luther King was a good leader, and he had many things that were very, very wise, and I really appreciate that our kids seem to absorb some of those lessons and understand the application to their own lives. So it's a great event. I would not change us participating in it. I think it's important to continue that opportunity for them. We have an event coming up on, it's hard to believe it's here already, coming up on the 10th. C3 is going to be doing a veterans event. We've done this for many years at the at the Voice of America Learning Center, 11:30. It's open to our entire community. We ask that you register only because we'll provide lunch for you. We have a keynote speaker that will be very interesting, Colonel Trent Inemaker, and our Lakota West Choir will be singing. They always do the most amazing job at that, and we look forward to seeing our veterans at that event as well. As a military mother and wife, it's one of my favorite events of the year, so I hope that you all can join, and I hope my fellow board members, Dr. Olney and Mr. Zink, would consider coming up for that as well. So with that being said, don't forget to vote tomorrow, and we are going to move into executive session. Warren, I'm looking for a motion to enter into executive session for the purchase of property at competitive bidding because a premature disclosure of information would give an unfair or competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public. That is based on Ohio Revised Code 121.22G and 2A. The second reason, the sale of property at competitive bidding because premature disclosure would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. That would appear to be the same, Mr. Zink. Do we have to read that entire piece?
One's sale and one's purchase.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
Motion to enter into executive session.
Thank you, Mrs. Bodie. Do I have a second?
Second?
Mrs. Schaefer? Thank you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Bodie?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Dean? Yes. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes. Audience, thank you for joining us tonight. I do not expect any business other than calling for adjournment to happen following executive session.